Hello and welcome to Some of My Friends Read Comics. We've got Vince.
I'm Vince and I've had it with people getting dumped on my butt.
We've got Chris.
Reaganomics victim.
And I'm Kia. Hi, welcome to the show. Today we are talking about Batman, A Death in the Family from 1988. This is famously the story where the second Robin, Jason Todd, spoiler alert, dies. Didn't really give you much time to turn off the podcast, but from 1988, I think we're okay in letting that slip. This was in Batman number 426 through 429. Also famously, fans got to vote on whether or not he lived, and they voted to kill him.
But by not big of a margin,
Whoa.
they said like 10,000 people voted for a 900 number. And they only voted to kill him by 72 votes. However, the arc was called A Death in the Family. So if Jason hadn't died, what would they had already shipped the issue called A Death in the Family Part 1 and 2.
You're right. We'll get into that. I think I know. But we'll see. Also, after we talk about that, we're gonna continue our read of Secret Wars with issue number 4. So make sure you stick around for that.
Yeah, it's a mountain of fun.
A mountain of fun. Or maybe, are there people who only listen to this for just that part and they skip ahead? They skip over the Batman? We'll see. I don't know. You do what you want to do. This is now out of our hands. In the future, we will have already recorded this and it's done. And you can skip to whatever part you like. But I'm just going to put it out there now. Both parts are going to be good. And you should listen to all of it. Why am I... Okay, let's just keep going. So, Death in the Family, Batman, it starts with him and Robin kind of going around doing that thing.
Who's our creative team?
Oh, okay, I'm messing up left and right. Jim Starlin, who we've talked about a lot on this podcast.
MVP of this show.
Well, really mainly we've talked about his Marvel cosmic stuff, all the Thanos, Infinity stuff that he's done. Jim Aparo, who did...
Warlock.
Oh yeah, Warlock. Yeah, Jim Aparo did the the art for this episode. Have we done anything with him, Jim Aparo?
I don't think so, but he's a classic Batman artist. The biggest image I know from him is the Batman Return of the Joker Nintendo game, that one with like the yellow background with a big Joker face on it. That's Jim Aparo.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all the design work for the Batman movie stuff was all Jim Aparo.
Okay.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
So he's been with me since I was 4. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, there you go.
So he did all the little coats with the little Joker images on them when everybody has little boom boxes. Yeah.
And Joker, like seeing Batman like reflected in his eyeball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it. I'm down.
Yeah, for sure. And then we've also got on covers for these is Mr. Hellboy himself, Mikey Miggs, who
probably predates Hellboy.
Yeah, it does.
Definitely.
And I like this first cover with Batman with this like grimace on his face. I just think I love looking at it. It is just fun. But I like all his covers in general. They're really nice.
I like how it's got an image and then like kind of like a right side panel with text like in which our hero does something. And then it's so dumb and I love that. I love stories that do that.
I wish there was more stuff like that. Just have fun with your cover. Don't let it be just a generic splash image. Give me something more, right?
Yeah. I will say the first cover I was like, I don't feel it so much. And then I think what I like about it is if you put all of the covers next to each other, they do kind of tell a story. So that if you just put them all side by side, you're like, oh, I get it, because you have frowny Batman, and then you have kind of frowny Batman and frowny Robin, and then you have Joker with like a monocle and a hat. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, okay.
Okay, that's why they're so frowny. Aw. Poor frowny Batman. But I think frowny is a good way to just describe Batman in general. Like the frowniest, the world's frowniest detective. That's pretty good. All right, so when our story opens, Robin's the one who is a little bit frowny. They're doing some fighting and stuff.
Panel 1, let's break up a kiddie porn ring.
Oh my god, that's like the first line on the first panel as well. Like, what the hell? All right.
And Batman's like, let's wait for police backup because apparently they work with the police. Like they went ahead and they said, police, we'll go in first, and then you back us up. And then Jason wants to just go in guns a-blazing.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, Batman says, man, he must be like upset about his dead parents or something like that. We got to take him off duty.
Chris, how long have his parents been dead?
Well, since like his second or third appearance in 1984, so it's been a while.
That, and that was going to be my follow-up question. How long had he been Robin? So I guess since 1984.
He's Robin pre-Crisis. And
yes.
he was basically just like Dick Grayson 2.0, and then with Crisis, they're like, maybe let's make him a little different. So he was kind of like a guy who would like boost I think he was found trying to steal wheels off the Batmobile.
Yeah, that's what Batman mentioned.
This story is, I believe, rewrites the origin. I had never read this before. I was like, what are you talking about? This is not Robin's origin.
Because you've been actually reading the whole Jason Todd run, right, Chris?
Yes, this is not anything I had read before. He's like, and then he found Two-Face, his parents' killer. I'm like, what are you talking about?
All right, when we get there, we'll make sure to let you point out the differences that you know of for sure. So Batman is like, Robin, we gotta take you off duty. Actually, doesn't tell him. He's talking to Alfred. He's like, I gotta take the boy off duty. And Jason's overhearing. Says, what? You're taking me off duty? I'm out of here. And he goes and does his sad, frowny teen thing. Goes to his old stomping grounds, and some old neighbor gives him like some files from his dead parents, photos and stuff, and he finds his birth certificate. And because of some water damage, he can't read his mother's name, but he can tell it's not who he thought his mother was. It starts with the letter S. It's like, what? And so he starts to do some good detective work, goes through his dad's books, and finds the only people it could be who starts with the letter S, which, I guess that's some good detective work. And he's off.
It's an interesting plot device, although, unfortunately, all three of the people that are the potential candidates to be his mother are all, like, super big world travelers. Like, like one's in Beirut, and another one's in Ethiopia, and another one's somewhere else. And I'm like,
in Israel.
Not one of them is just, like, a normal person who, like, works at a diner or at a grocery store. Like, not one of them. They're all like world travelers to like, where could my mother be? And I'm like, I didn't think that Jason Todd's dad was like, he was like at least in the rewritten history, he's a henchman of Two-Faces, right?
Yeah. Well, this brings up an interesting point that I hadn't thought about right now. Is that how did Jason's dad know the other two women? And like that doesn't come up at all. They're just like, hey, did you ever have any kids? Nope. And say, okay, I'm out of here. I'm skipping ahead a little bit. Sorry, but. They just don't even bother to ask, like, hey, by the way, how did you know my dad? Because I feel like that could be important.
No, I mean, let's just jump ahead there because that's weird. When Jason does find the first person, he says, hey, have you ever been to Gotham City? Have you ever had a baby there? That's his first question. Yeah,
and she answers, not in Gotham, no. And he's like, all right, we're done here. I'm like, wait a minute. Ask some follow-up questions. Come on, man.
When you go back to place, did I have a baby in Gotham? I don't know.
That was his first choice. That was his, pick number one, Israeli secret agent mom.
Yeah, I think he went in order of how much he would prefer to have them as a mom. Israeli secret agent mom was like his number one pick for sure. Yeah, he's like flying around the world looking for his potential mom. And meanwhile, Batman is also flying around the world because the Joker is doing some stuff with nuclear missiles.
The Joker escaped from Arkham.
I see.
And I love what Gordon has to say. He says, apparently the Joker was able to gain access to the janitor's storage room. It never occurred to anyone that he might mix up chemicals to make his laughing gas. I'm like, well, never would occur to anyone that he would get into the janitor's closet. That's the bigger it would never occur. And there's, of course, like 8 dead bodies in Arkham, which I don't know what Arkham's turnover is. But it's got to be high. And here's my side story pitch for this episode. Mm-hmm. The longest tenured employee at Arkham.
Oh, that'd be a good pitch. all the things
he's been there a year.
Okay, never mind.
The like 5-year retirement.
I mean, because
you get a gold watch. Nobody's ever made it this long.
But I love that, and like Batman's like, man, I've been trying to talk to Arkham about tightening up security. And I'm like, do you go to budget meetings, Batman? Like, how do you like how do you use your influence? Do you just walk around and like look at like walls like at the beginning of like Arkham Asylum, and you're like, this needs tightening up, guys. This is no good. But anyways, Joker's also got no money because he's a victim of Reaganomics and other things. One of my favorite lines. And he's talking to his henchman, Rupert, who looks just like the Nicolas Cage, like, oh, face. And so he decides that he's going to sell a cruise missile. He's acquired a nuclear warhead, and he's going to go sell it, and he's going to get into basically international arms deals to recoup some money.
Okay, so did he explain how he got this this cruise missile?
Yeah, he got it from some general who's dead now.
Yeah, all right, good for him. It is very weird to see Joker in this sort of like position where he is trying to make an arms deal happen. I don't know. I guess I just haven't read the Joker in a ton of comics, especially from this era, but it instantly feels weird. It just doesn't feel like the Joker that I know from like the cartoons and the movies and stuff. It was a little. It took some getting used to.
It's very weird, but I also think that the Joker is like super malleable that it works.
Yeah,
like
I don't think it. Yeah.
I don't think it doesn't.
Does.
It doesn't not work. It doesn't.
Right.
You know, it doesn't not work. But it's weird, and it is funny though because I'm not used to seeing the Joker like not having money and not having resources, but also I can see him totally like venting to Harley Quinn about that and like kind of a weird. You know?
There were definitely episodes of the animated series like that.
Yeah,
where he needed money for whatever.
And it's also interesting at this point. I kind of remembered like, oh, this is Jim Starlin, who we've read him doing like all this abstract, spacey kind of stuff, and to do something so grounded in like real world locations and arms deals and a smaller cast of characters is very, very different. Like if you hadn't told me this was Jim Starlin, there is no way I would have guessed it was him.
I can see that. There's something that definitely like still says like this is Starlin to me, but yeah. But if you had told me, if you hadn't told me that, I wouldn't have been able to pick it out.
Yeah. So speaking of real world dealings, I have to mention they one of the next places they go to is Beirut in Lebanon, and everyone is speaking Farsi there, which I believe is because Jim Starlin got confused and looked up the wrong Beirut, because there is a Beirut in Iran where they speak Farsi, but not in Lebanon. In Lebanon, they speak Arabic. And then later, Iran does come into play again, so I'm not sure if he just had Iran on the mind from looking it up the first time. Worth mentioning. It is important to me. I am Iranian, so I've got to put that out there.
It's exclusive. No one has had this kind of analysis.
Nobody has had this kind. Exactly. Why were they speaking Farsi in Lebanon? I have to know, Jim Starlin. I have to know. So that's my guess. So let's keep on going with the story.
This is such like a coincidence, the book, though, because like Jason runs away from home and then accidentally runs into Batman in Beirut.
Yeah.
And then the people that they're independently chasing, because Batman's chasing a lead that knows where the Joker is. Mm-hmm. And Jason's chasing his mom. Or a potential mom, and then those two people get in a car together, like how that's some fucking convenience. I'm like, at this point, I was getting a little incredulous. I'm like, this is a little too convenient.
It was. I completely agree. I was very like, this is unreal. This is way too coincidental between all this stuff. And why did Jason's dad know this lady?
And then they chase. Batman chases them, and I do like how he lampshades this. Like, it's a good thing I brought an extra glider. I don't know why. I guess I'm just psychic.
Well, it's like maybe I got so used to having a partner around that I just packed it out of habit. Like I don't know. Man, come on. And meanwhile, Joker's flying around again to Ethiopia.
Boss, this is a really nice plane. I don't know why that panel just cracks me up. Hey, boss, this is a really nice plane. Thank you. It's so stupid.
So they're flying around. The second lady turns out to not be her either, of course. If it has to be the third one, right? Could you imagine a story where they're like, hey, there's 3 women we have to check out, and it's the second one, and there's like, okay, so we don't even have to go to the third one? No, it's never going to happen.
Well, yeah, well, we didn't even mention the second lady is Lady Shiva, who's kind of a semi-important villain in Batman comics.
And, I got to tell you, Lady Shiva, before I realized it was an important woman in the comics, I had my money on her just because in the flashback panel you see pictures of all these women, which Jason Todd didn't actually have. We just see them. But one of them has the same hair. And in comics, if the Osbournes have taught me anything, it's that parents always have the same hair as their kids. Harry and Norman Osborn, not the musical group, the Osbournes.
Right.
Well, have they ever done anything like that? Harry and Norman Osborn forming the Osbournes? That'd be good.
You talking about like Norman Osborn just like brain dead after being beat up by Spider-Man too many times? Like, what the fuck, Harry? That's my Ozzy Osbourne impression.
Oh, that Osborn. I was okay. So, I was thinking of the Osmonds. I messed up. Donnie and Marie Osmond. Oh no. I have forever gotten the Osmonds and the Osborns and Harry and Norman Osborn and everyone else confused all the time. I just get things confused. It's okay. Don't worry, everybody. I'll be fine. I've been beat up one too many times.
Are we at the point where they infiltrate that camp to meet Lady Shiva?
Sure, we are.
And of course they are in costume over costume.
His costume, like those, yeah. And Batman doesn't even need to be in costume. He just sneaks up on a guy from behind and says, "All right, well, these costumes worked great. I'm done with it now."
Yeah, but they don't even do the big reveal. There's no panel where they both like rip off their costumes, like, "Ta-ha! I'm actually Batman." Yeah. Which is a missed opportunity.
Definitely. Yeah. But yeah, those costumes.
I do like that Batman is like, this is too easy. I know this is a trap. It's like, how? I mean, I guess.
Yeah, it's just like people overseas who have never heard of you and definitely aren't expecting the Batman. Like, it should be too easy for you, dude. You're Batman.
This is the one also where he says, like, they don't know who Batman is, which makes them more afraid and willing to give up information. I'm like, I feel like your reputation, is what would give you more information and people be more afraid of you. Otherwise, it's like, what the fuck is this? What the? Yeah. And I'd probably be saying that in a different language in the wrong country.
Yeah.
This is. I do love seeing so many of these images of the Joker with his regular face makeup on.
Yeah.
Because he is drawn... I want to talk about Jim Aparo's art, because I do love how misshapen his head is, and his like very, very long chin. It looks great like this. I know that's how he's often drawn, but there's just something about the way he's doing it. It might be one of my favorite regular Joker faces.
It's just a really good classic Joker. Like all of his design with Joker. I think that's what, like, later as this book goes on, like Jim Aparo, the way he draws Joker in his weird costumes, really makes it for me.
Yeah.
More of the Joker in weird costumes for sure. That's always good.
All of his safari outfits and everything are always really fun. Yeah.
Very good.
And I like Joker's frustration when he tries to sell his nuclear bomb only to have his money explode. He's very frustrated. I felt a little sorry for the Joker, even though the Joker is an idiot. He's tried to sell a nuclear device for $1 million.
Oh. Well, back then, inflation and all that.
Even then, it's 1988.
That's still only like, what, 5 million, maybe 5 times that, if that.
That's true.
I do love that he's like walking in his like members only jacket, like Charlie Brown, like, and he's like, "Oh, my lovely money, burnt to a crisp." I'm telling you, this book has a lot of panels of the week. This one's got a lot. I did a lot of screen grabs of this one.
You liked? All right, great.
I like that one. I like the one. There's a lot of other fun stuff where like Batman. I think I texted you guys where Batman's like, "Quick, undress him." Because they're stealing the clothes, and they go, "Man, I wish Jason wasn't here." And I'm like, "What does that mean?"
Yeah.
at some point, Batman and Shiva start getting into a fight, and Jason's looking on like, wow, Batman's fighting the supervillain, but she couldn't be my mom. What do I do?
Yeah, because this issue has two different places where a character goes, but I could do this or this. What do I do? And I'm like, because Batman's like, Jason's over there, but the Joker's over there. What do I do? I'm like, don't do it twice in one issue. Come on, bro.
I mean, to be fair, they're double-sized isures.
They are long issues.
The first two are, yeah.
So we find out, Shiva didn't have any kids. It's not her.
Which is very easily look-upable, I feel, for the world's greatest detective. You don't need to go to her and ask her if she's ever had a baby.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the 80s. You don't have that information online. She doesn't have her, her cycle isn't Googleable.
I feel like the Bat computer. The Bat computer sometimes does have that information, though. And also, question one would be, what's your relationship to my dad, Jason Todd's dad, rather than, did you have a baby? And it could be me.
Yeah. Well, if she's training henchmen, then she might have had a relationship. I mean, she's in his, Rolex or his Filofax or whatever.
That's true.
That is true. Can we get back to this website that apparently exists nowadays where you can find people's cycles online? Because that would come in very... Yeah, go ahead and text me that address so I've got it. Thank you. All right, let's keep moving on. We get some depressing stuff in... Are they in Ethiopia now?
Yes.
Yeah. Where they're looking for the third woman, Dr. Sheila Haywood. And I guess by process of elimination, Jason knows it's got to be this one. So he just, runs up to her, mother, and instantly hugs. They're having a good time. And then, they catch up, and Sheila says, all right, Jason, you got to get out of here. I got work to do. And her work is dealing with the Joker, because the Joker's all up in everyone's business, apparently.
The Joker going into Mom's tents?
Yeah,
what is he up to? A situation like this calls for a little eavesdropping. So silly.
And finds out that the Joker is blackmailing his mom. The mom is over in Ethiopia because she there was some botched
surgery or
operation, on a kid who died.
Yeah, she was like some sort of crime night nurse.
Did she exist before this, or are we just
Well, no, I'm just saying she was like a criminal version of night nurse. She performed surgeries for the people that Batman, cripples on a nightly basis, and someone got injured or whatever, and so she could lose her license or whatever in Gotham, and so Joker is blackmailing her about something and wants medical supplies, and she's like, but what are your goons doing replacing the supplies they're taking? Why aren't they just leaving empties? And he's like, they're just leaving laughing gas. We're going to poison all these refugees.
And she's going along with it.
Well, if you blow the whistle on the Joker, then the ensuing investigation would certainly uncover my embezzling.
Yep, and she can't have that, so she's got to go along.
She doesn't say that.
That's a literal.
She doesn't say that because Jason, when Jason runs out and is like, "Mom, what's going on?" She's like, "Oh, I'm glad you're here." Then she rats him. She's like, "Oh, Joker, Robin's here."
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, hey, come here. I want to show you something."
Yeah. And then she's like, "I am also embezzling."
Mm-hmm. And she just lights a cigarette and I can't look at this. And
well, Joker beats the crap out of Jason Todd, which I must have a different definition of torture than just the Joker beating up somebody, because it was because every time I've read about the story, it's he tortured Jason Todd. And then Batman wanted his revenge, and Joker wanted his revenge on Jason Todd. And I'm like, seems like Joker just wanted to beat up a Robin. That's what this seemed like to me.
Yeah, I think like a constant, like it looks like if we count these, like seven times he hits him in the back with a crowbar, presumably in other locations because he's got like a black eye or a puffy eye, and like I don't know, I think that counts as torture to be hit with a crowbar 7 times, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I would consider that torturous. Maybe.
And it's like a 15-year-old, so it's like it's messed up.
This is also true. It's messed up at the very least.
And as Batman pointed out when Joker escaped, and he's just like, "Hey, Commissioner, real sorry about what happened to your daughter there," because this is like the last thing Joker did was the Killing Joke.
That's right, and they mentioned that earlier in this thing. Like one of his goons is like, "Hey, Joker, how about that thing you just did on that?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, all that." Just to remind us of what time we're dealing with, you can check out our episode on the Killing Joke.
So it's like
episode number
9, I think.
Yeah, so the Joker is just going around murdering and crippling Bat family members.
Yeah, it was the 80s. People were getting dark in the 80s.
Yeah, it's a good thing the Bat Hound, Ace the Bat Hound, wasn't around too much.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It is a good thing. Anyways, his poor doctor, Sheila Haywood, who sold out her own son and is now getting her comeuppance, gets tied up by the Joker. Joker has a 10-minute bomb, and he's out of there. But of course, Robin wakes up and then tries to protect his mom, but the door's locked. We can't get out, and this blast goes off. And the final page of this issue is an ad for a 1-900 number asking if the Joker should fail and Robin lives, or if the Joker should succeed and Robin will not survive. They did reprint this ad in the trade versions, some of the trade versions
it's
here.
Not
although
in my digital version.
It's
though,
not in your digital version.
Yeah. I have the DC Universe app or service, where I get like streaming comics. It's not nearly as robust as Marvel Unlimited, but I felt it would be a good time to check it out. And they didn't have this in there, so I had to go Google it. I'm like, because I didn't know when the ad ran, because I assumed it would be like at the very end, like, "I'll kill him, Batman." And then like, "Please vote." Like that's what I thought it was going to be like, not like explosion,
like
and then like it was like explosion, and then like 5 pages of Batman running and seeing like fire, and then it was like, "Now vote." And the voting was only open for like 2 to 4 days.
2 days, September 15th through 16th, 1988. Which is like, it's kind of crazy that it was only open for 2 days.
So it must have been open like the Wednesday and Thursday right after this was published, I guess.
That makes sense. Yeah. So who do you guys think won? So we get to
they reran the quiz online on DC's site just a few months ago, and apparently the internet voted to undo his death.
You can't. That's a
recreate
vote based on things that have already happened. Though. I don't. Yeah, of course they would vote for something different.
And that's weird. I would vote to kill him again, frankly.
I think I might too. So next issue, this starts off with a lot of recap of like, "Hey, this is Jason Todd. This is how I met him. He was stealing tires off of the Batmobile or off my car, and we didn't know his parents were dead, but his mom had died. His dad was missing, and so I took him in, and he became Robin, even though maybe that was a bad idea because he was just a kid, and all this stuff." Where does this differ from what you were saying, Chris, about what you had read?
Yeah, none of this is what I had heard. This is all made up after the fact, which is really weird. Because it's not that long. It's only been 4 years. Like, I mean, I guess they're expecting a lot of turnover, but like it has not been that long since Jason Todd was even introduced. So Jason Todd, I mean, it's the laziest introduction. He was literally his parents were circus performers, and were alive when they were introduced. And Dick Grayson was like, "Hey, like it's my friends, the Todds. like, there's this new gangster, Killer Croc. I want you to help investigate what he's up to. And in the course of the investigation, Killer Croc murders them. And then Jason finds out about it. He finds his way to the Batcave. He steals one of Robin's outfits. He at this time has like red hair. And so you can definitely tell he is not the real Robin, who at the time I think was still dressing like Robin.
Oh, this is so different. Okay.
So there's basically two Robins, but he is like in like knockoff Robin gear. But he's like, he killed my family. Tries to get revenge on Killer Croc, but then obviously doesn't try to kill him or anything. Killer Croc at this point is basically just a gangster. This is before he's like a 17-foot tall crocodile monster.
Wait. So Killer Croc at one point was just a human?
I mean, he's got scaly skin, and he's
like
got
how he was in like Suicide Squad. Okay, he's not like Leatherhead from Ninja Turtles. Okay, got it.
Yeah, I mean, he's got like I would say like Captain America bad guy supervillain powers.
Okay.
So he's, like slightly enhanced human, but, enhanced to the level that he could beat up a regular human.
That's fair.
But where like 10 humans could beat him. But anyway, so then he, for a while, Bruce adopts him. And for a while he is not Robin, but Bruce is just a mean loner. And so Jason dyes his hair and just goes out and is like, I'm going to be Robin, and dresses up like Robin. And Batman's kind of like, I didn't approve of this.
You know what this sounds a lot more to me like? Batman Forever.
Yeah.
It is a lot more like that.
Chris
really.
O'Donnell's Robin sounds exactly like this. Interesting.
So I guess we can just blame it on the crisis. That's why nothing matches up anymore.
Yes, and then there's a bunch of adoption drama where Bruce Wayne loses custody of him and then gets him back. Blah blah blah. But yeah, it's very strange that 4 years later they're like, yeah, he was an inner city tough kid. I'm like, what are you talking about? None of that happened.
That's so weird, because the only thing I know about because this is the first time I probably have read anything like with Jason Todd proper. Mm-hmm. But I've always heard the stories, the trading cards, and allusions to the story. This recap has always been my understanding of Jason Todd. With a few more
that's
details.
all I know.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Sounds like Chris is a liar. None of that happened.
We're hitting you with a lot of exclusives this episode.
Yep. Yeah, and this era also is my favorite part of Jason Todd was this era also introduced Harvey Bullock to DC, to Batman Comics. And he was introduced as Mayor Hamilton Hill introduced him as like a dirty cop who was supposed to spy on Commissioner Gordon and be like an inside man, but he actually wasn't a dirty cop. He was sent there to be like a mole who was going to be bad, but then he wasn't. And so Hamilton Hill tried to have him killed. And then when that failed, he became like Robin's pal. And so they team up on a bunch of adventures. And so that was probably my favorite thing about Jason Todd, was that he has this sort of grudging friendship with Harvey Bullock, where he knows that Harvey Bullock is a cinephile that has a bunch of Golden Age movie memorabilia in his apartment. Where it's a secret that he doesn't share with the police. But Robin knows about it, so I was like, I actually like this aspect about Robin. It's the only thing I like about this kid. I think he mostly stinks, but his relationship with Harvey Bullock was good. And then they basically kind of gave that to Tim Drake and I forget that Shotgun Cop in the early 90s.
Shotgun Cop.
If you read Tim Drake's Robin run, he gets a police friend that's not Harvey Bullock.
It's always nice when they have police friends. bringing it all together. I didn't know Harvey Bullock was anybody's police friend, and I kind of want to read all that now. So back to the story here. Batman finds the explosion. We get some really, really close-up faces of Robin's mom, like blood pouring down her nose. I did not expect those. It felt super realistic in a kind of brutal way. And then, of course, he finds...
I'm wondering how much this issue, because it is like more than like a quarter of it, or more than a third of it is recap of Jason Todd's origin. And then a lot of focus on his mom. I'm wondering if this was in the can regardless of what happened with the vote.
Oh, I'm almost certain. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because I think, and I saw there's the alternate version would have been that Jason would have survived somehow. I don't know if he would have even continued to be Robin, but the mom's dead for sure.
That's what I think Death in the Family would have alluded to, that it's like Robin finds his mom only to have her killed immediately, which, you know, that's, I guess, enough of a story if they vote to keep him alive. And that's what I thought would have happened.
Yeah, kind of a cop-out, but yeah. And then he would be, I think he would probably be, like, unable to be Robin, because I think they were going to take him off the table either way.
Mm-hmm. The rest of this issue blew my mind completely.
This is where it gets fucking good.
But actually, I'm like, wait a minute, I thought this was about Robin. What is happening here? The Joker gets approached by some Iranian Secret Service agents who, I'm not sure if they have the Secret Service in Iran, but apparently they do. And they say, hey, Joker, you got to come talk to our boss here. And their boss is the Ayatollah.
That's a funny reveal.
Yeah.
I'm like looking. I'm like, is that supposed to be the Ayatollah? Or is that just like an old Iranian guy? I'm like,
no, it's definitely Ayatollah Khomeini, and he says a little later, he says, Joker, I want you to be the ambassador to the UN, and I'm like, okay, all right.
But Marge, it works with any Ayatollah.
I did not see that coming at all.
I didn't see it coming. I saw it coming with Superman, like, because the Joker gave like a clue for Batman to go meet him somewhere, and so Batman went to the UN, and Superman shows up, and there's 5 pages. It takes 5 pages when I figured it out within the first line.
Oh yeah, where Superman is telling Batman like, hey, you know, there's a new ambassador, and I don't want you to do anything stupid now because he has diplomatic immunity, and you're not allowed to hurt him, okay? And Batman's like, who is it? Just tell me. And he wants to know so bad that he punches Superman.
And breaks his knuckles.
Breaks his knuckles.
He thinks he breaks his knuckles, and then Superman's like, you didn't break them.
Yeah.
Which is pretty funny.
He's like, you're lucky I rolled with that punch. Otherwise they'd be broken. But this issue pretty quickly feels like it stops being about Robin. Like, they have the funeral for Robin right before that.
He's like, Jason had no friends, and I can't be troubled to look up Sheila's friends, so no one came to the funeral.
Yeah, so no one's coming.
This story is over now. And it's not even like Batman on a rampage as revenge for Joker for killing Jason. It seems like Batman's just, it's Joker, and he's an ambassador to the UN, so I have to stop him. And
yeah, like, he does mention it a few times, like, oh, after what he did to Jason, I have to, like, do this, blah, blah, blah. And, like, well, you know, it seemed like you were going to do this anyways.
Yeah.
Regardless of how the fans voted.
It does feel like, you know, it's like acknowledging that it's like, this has gone far enough. Like, Joker is out of control.
Yeah.
My notes for issue 429, part 4, the final part, is just, I love this. That's all I wrote down.
Yeah, it's like just Bruce Wayne is like, I've got to get into this UN assembly so I can be hanging out there.
But they think Joker I'm a shithead, so why would they let Bruce Wayne into the UN? Because Bruce Wayne's just like a drunk playboy. I was like, Batman's like, oh man, I messed up there. Can't get in anywhere.
Superman is set to be like the security for the whole thing.
Well, that's the big reveal.
Well, they mentioned it at the beginning of this issue, where
do you think Superman's going to be like just this Boy Scout who's going to enforce the law, regardless of whether the law is just? And Batman's like, the Joker is definitely going to like try to gas all of the UN General Assembly. Like, you have to understand that.
Yeah, like this guy sucks. He's going to try and kill everyone.
Even though he shouldn't. Like, if the Joker's problems have been solved, he's like, oh, I don't have any money and everyone's after me. It's like,
yeah, he's set for life.
Yeah.
Man, what an idiot, Joker. Just you got this great situation here on your hands.
Wants to watch the world
take
burn.
Yeah.
He just can't stop.
It's so fun,
Can't
though.
Stop.
I mean, it's like
this
is a
got
Batman
a great
story where the Joker becomes the ambassador to Iran for the UN, and then the Joker tries to gas the whole UN General Assembly. Like, that's just stupid. I love it.
It's very stupid, and I love it. Yeah.
This is the final part of the Jason Todd gets killed story. This is where it goes.
It's so weird to me. The only part that I took some offense to is when the Joker's up on the podium and he says, "Hey, I'm insane, just like Iran. That's why we're partners together." I'm like, all right, I know it's just the Joker saying this, but no need to reinforce these stereotypes.
And it's also the writers like trying to reinforce some propaganda. I feel. But
Yeah.
Batman calls every single Middle Eastern person he beats up a terrorist, like a little too quickly.
Yeah, I mean, he was at a terrorist training camp, so I think it's okay. I will forgive Batman.
They do call a lot of people Abdul, which is weird.
There's three different Abduls, including another person who gets confused for being named Abdul. But I don't think that's. But it's not like building to that joke.
Okay, all right. So how does this thing end? Yeah, Joker is up on this podium and he's like, "By the way, I'm gonna kill everyone here." He's got his laughing gas.
I do love the Joker's like, his pretending to be aggrieved, where he's just like, the faces he's making when he's just like, and some people accuse me of being crazy.
He makes some really particularly good faces throughout this whole exchange. I really like it. Why isn't he wearing his normal person makeup anymore? He just goes back to his regular clown makeup.
Because he doesn't have to hide who he is anymore.
I think the normal person makeup is over his white skin, though, right?
Right. That's correct. He pulls out the gun, and one of these agents that was right behind him, Superman, was in costume, which I really like. It's a great panel of Superman sucking up all the laughing gas, mostly because he's not dressed as Superman. He's just like a guy in a green suit with a mustache who's standing in the middle of a room, awkwardly sucking up all the gas in the air. And I think this was my panel of the book. It was just crazy.
And Joker thinks he's just some guy who's like trying to foil his scheme. He's like, "You're too late," and then he's like, "Oh, am I?" And then just sucks up all the gas.
It's good stuff. It's really good stuff.
Right before that, Joker's like, "No fair. You're not supposed to meddle in my affairs." And I go, I do like that. Like, oh, this Batman story is solved by Superman, of course.
Yeah.
But Joker's like, this isn't right.
Yeah, it reminds me of that, again, to talk about the Batman and Superman cartoon, the great episode where Superman fills in for Batman.
Oh, yeah. I remember that was a good episode.
Yeah, and at the end where Brainiac is like, "Oh, Batman, you are only a human," and then like tries to like kill Batman and like burns off his Batman uniform, and then he's Superman underneath, and then Brainiac is like, "This is highly unlikely."
That was a good episode. I like that episode. So, Joker's plan is thwarted. Is there anything else that happened in this? Are we done? Yeah, some helicopter explodes. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, his helicopter explodes, and then Batman is like, Superman like saves Batman, and Batman's like, find the body right now. And then he can't find the body, and he's like, no, he's gonna come back.
Overall, though, lots of fun. I thought that was a pretty good story.
I was very incredulous towards the beginning, and then it really won me over. I thought this was the right amount of silly, because I thought this was going to be like this super dour, Batman book.
Yeah. I thought so too. I'm so glad it wasn't. I thought it was going to be about Robin, and I'm so glad it wasn't.
Yeah, because I'm like reading this, I'm like, Batman, like out in the desert in the sun. Like, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. This is not right. And then by the end of it, I'm like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It figured itself out.
I think that it was a really fun Joker story. It was a fun Joker story.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot going on with the Joker, but it was fun.
So is Jim Starlin still our MVP?
He pulled it out again. Good job.
I think so. Yeah. I think so. Good job, Jim Starlin.
And like in a year, he'll write Infinity War or Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh, a year after this. Yeah. Crazy. You know, he had a good run. Good run. So let's. Are we ready to move on to Secret Wars?
I am. I've said all I need to say.
All right, Chris. What were you just about to say? You ready?
Yep. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Secret Wars number 4. When our last episode left off, what had happened? Like the villains had reobtained their captured friends, but we didn't quite know what had happened. Doesn't matter.
Spider-Man had been knocked out and betrayed by the X-Men.
Yeah, we're still not quite sure what's going on with the X-Men, where they're like, we got to join up with Magneto or something like that. We're going to try and get to the bottom of things here.
But we've got a new artist now.
Oh, yeah. Who's the new artist for this one?
Bob Layton. Bob Layton, who I don't think we've ever actually covered, but he often works with David Michelin, who we've covered several times with the Spider-Man books. But he and David Michelin did the Iron Man story Demon in a Bottle.
Okay, yes.
Which is Iron Man's famous alcoholism story. Yeah.
I think it's actually a step up from Mike Zack.
Oh, it's definitely.
I really like
the backgrounds are way more detailed. I mean, they kind of hang it they lampshade it again in the book where they're like, wow, it looks like the backgrounds just change, just every few miles on this battle world or whatever. But everything's way more detailed. It just feels more lush. The coloring seems better. The character models seem a little better. Although Chris, you're probably more accurate on who's looking like they should and who's accidentally looking off a model sheet from 10 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, the X-Men have been off model like the whole time.
But Bob Layton actually designed all of the action figures the year before Secret Wars happened. So Bob Layton has even more ties to Secret Wars.
Yeah.
So he knows what's going on here. Isn't Bob Layton also the person that the Professor Layton video games were based on?
Exactly. Yep. That's
great.
Yep.
Great.
All right.
I want to talk a little about Bob Layton.
Go ahead.
He also he also contributed to making Iron Man's design more like modular and purpose driven. And Iron Man wasn't nearly as shiny and didn't have as many variant suits up until Bob Layton. And Bob Layton, after this, actually went and founded Valiant Comics with Jim Shooter, and then who's the writer of this book. But then something happened, which Bob Layton will not talk about. But he will never work with Jim Shooter again.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Don't try to put those two together. All right, so when this scene opens, all the villains are hanging out, talking about how they've got to go get the good guys. And Molecule Man, who hasn't done much up to this point, Owen, I forget his last name, he's like, I'm not a villain, I'm just hanging out. But now that they got some ladies over there, he's got to impress those ladies. He really wants to impress Volcana. Mm-hmm. And so he picks up a damn mountain and drops it on the good guys. There's they throw some other stuff at the good guys.
I love this build though because the wrecking crew is like, oh, we should throw some stuff too, but smaller stuff.
Yeah,
which is just funny.
The acknowledgement that they are not as good as Titania, just like, oh yeah, okay, we're okay.
Mm-hmm.
I love this though because the good guys are just kind of walking down a path and shit is just being thrown at them.
Mm-hmm. And Hulk is carrying 4 people, and I love that when they notice the first thing being thrown at them, Hulk says, "Cap, look, I can't put all these people down in time to knock that thing away." And I feel like the amount of time it would have taken him to say that is enough to put those people down and knock that thing away. But that's just me. But Hawkeye has an arrow that blasts the car, all that kind of stuff. Anyways, that mountain shows up and it falls right on top of them. And all the good guys are under this mountain, except for Thor, who's hanging out with the Enchantress in some weird other dimension or something. Where are they?
Right. Just somewhere else that they went
somewhere else, yeah. And the X-Men and Magneto and stuff we'll account for later. But Doctor Doom doesn't look very pleased. He's like, yeah, I'm still not sure about this. But we've got this little victory going on here. Oh no, that part happens later because Thor and Enchantress show up, and Thor tries to take on everybody all at once, but it's no good because this enhanced Ultron that Doctor Doom has some new powers. Yeah, can take out Thor. So yeah, Doctor Doom wins. And he says, I'm going to take this opportunity to kill Kang. And he kills Kang.
He thinks he's killed Thor for some reason, but he has not killed Thor.
Yeah, what happened to Thor? He just disappears or something?
He just hides off screen and leaves his hat, and Doctor Doom is like, well, good enough. I see his hat is on the ground, and I assume he's dead.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's usually all it takes. The hat is proof that the body is dead. We join up with the X-Men, who are flying to Magneto to say, hey, what's up, Magneto? We're going to join you. Magneto is still macking on the Wasp over here.
Yep. He has made her a metal comb using his awesome powers of magnetism.
Yeah, he makes a metal comb.
Yeah, but she just wishes this place had plumbing. Because what kind of super beings would build a place with no powder rooms?
Powder rooms.
Continuing this terrible depiction of Janet.
Well, although it does kind of turn itself around a little bit because she says, hey, I was just chumming up to you so I could learn what your plans were. And now that I do, I'm out of here.
And now that she knows he's the most evil scum since Hitler.
Yep.
Magneto
yeah.
is Hitler.
How, Jan? How?
Yeah.
Which she finds out that he's going to kill the bad guys, and she says that makes him worse than Hitler. I mean, Jan, I don't really agree with you on this one.
Yeah, sorry, Janet. She says, I'm out of here. Takes the X-Men's jet. She also heard them just assumed that all the mutants were going to team up together. We still don't really learn exactly what the plan is.
Again, I really, it's so weird that basically everyone is seems to have latent anti-mutant prejudice.
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch has been on your team for a million years. And you're like, oh, I knew all the mutants would team up. What is wrong with everyone?
I don't know. They're very mean. But Professor X is talking to Magneto hey, listen, man, I could have used my psychic powers to just keep her from not going away. But I did that to Spider-Man in the last issue, and I feel kind of bad about it, and that would make me worse than Hitler. And you don't want to be worse than Hitler, right, Magneto?
In that moment, I was like a double Hitler, and I don't want to be a double Hitler.
This was strange. So then we see what's going on under this mountain. All the heroes are still alive. Hulk's just barely holding up this mountain like a little pocket of air for them. And, Reed Richards comes up with a plan using everybody's equipment and strength, and he's got to insult the Hulk a little bit, but, they get it out.
Because Hulk is, saying something and goes, shut up, Hulk, you're dumb. Leave the thinking to the thinking people. And and the muscle stuff to the muscle people, because that's all you're good for. And Hulk is just so mad. He was listening to you little son of a bitch. I'll smash your head so goddamn
hard. He's mad. Can you blame him? Yeah. But
I
they
love
get
that
out.
these heroes sniping at each other. It makes me so happy. I don't the kind of thing I do love about the Marvel universe is the heroes are kind of petty and mean to each other, even though it's kind of just it's a work. We find out later where Reader's just sorry, bro. I was just trying to make you more mad so you'd hold up the mountain better. Because I know Hulk gets better when he's more mad.
Yeah. And Hulk's yeah, I already figured that out because I'm not an idiot, Reed. Get out of here. Yeah, it's good stuff. So the heroes find this village of like natives to this planet. I thought this planet was created out of nothingness, but I was wrong. It's a real planet.
Yeah, I guess the Beyonder just took an existing planet.
Mm-hmm. It's weird. They're like people with white hair and cat eyes, and they all wear purple robes, and they speak in a language full of squiggles. And Johnny Storm's into it, and he likes them. And everyone's hanging out. No, Johnny's always into it, man. They're having a good time, hanging out, and Thing all of a sudden turns back into the Thing. I'd forgotten that he had even turned into a regular person again, but no, he turns back into Rocky Thing form. He was Thing for all of, what, 2 issues?
Yeah, he's been human for like the last 2 issues.
Yeah, it never really came into play, so I don't understand why it's over, but I think it might come up again.
Yeah, and then Reed is like, if it's happening for the reason I think, it could be very serious. And you're like, oh, okay.
Oh, okay. All right. Tell us more, Reed. No. But he can't tell us more because he looks up and he sees that Galactus is moving. Oh, no. No. And that's the end of the issue. We're not quite sure why Galactus is moving. We don't know why Reed is worried about the Thing. We don't know why Reed is worried about Galactus, but he's worried. And we're to take that to mean that something big is happening next issue.
Oh no!
No!
He'd be going to see the Anti-Monitor.
No, that's that. Okay, yeah.
Oh no!
Next time, the Battle of 4 Armies, which is what was the one in Lord of the Rings? The Battle of 5 Armies.
I thought that was the Hobbit.
The Hobbit.
Maybe
that's what I think.
That's the third Hobbit movie. The Battle of the 5 Armies.
5 Armies. So this one's next issue is not going to be as good as The Hobbit. Just heads up. But I think that's it. Anything else to say about Secret Wars?
No, I like this issue though.
It was fun. It was fun to read. Lots of crazy stuff happening. I like that there are so many people to focus on, and this book just continues to give me just the right amounts of everybody. It's nice. Mm-hmm. So next time, what are we doing? Speaking of just the right amounts of everybody, we need less Superman. Let's kill him. Death of Superman. We're going to finally read it. I've never read this.
Oh, you haven't? This was like one of the first comic books I ever read. I got it for Christmas.
Maybe I haven't.
Probably Christmas 93. Yeah, I got it Christmas 93, so 25 years ago. Yeah,
I was reading it like right as it was coming out, too.
I got the trade. It was like $5.95, I think is what it says on it.
Wow.
For 7 issues of Superman goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, so Death of Superman, we're not reading the Death and Return. Maybe eventually we'll get to all the Superman and Cyborg.
There's Funeral for a Friend, Reign of the Superman, and Return of Superman. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And they get progressively bigger.
Yeah, we're reading the first one, the first sort of trade, the Death of Superman, where Doomsday comes in, kills him. This took place over like a lot of different issues. Superman had 4 books going at the time?
Yeah, he had Adventures. He had Superman. He had Superman Man of Steel, Adventures of Superman, and Action Comics. Yeah. And then also Justice League.
Right. So this book spans all those. It starts with Man of Steel 18, ends with Superman 75. Yeah. I'm not going to list all the other issue numbers except for Justice League 69.
You wouldn't want to track this down individual issues anyways. Yeah. Just find it as a trade.
Just find the trade. So we're going to read that next time. I'm excited. Who wrote this?
A lot of people.
Everyone wrote it, and everyone did the art for it. We'll mention it as we...
A lot of our Marvel friends. So Roger Stern and Louise Simonson both worked on this. And also Dan Jurgens.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dan Jurgens, did he write and draw the final issue?
Wrote and drew.
Yeah.
Amazing. So we've got a lot of different stuff to look forward to next time. And of course, we'll keep on going with Secret Wars with issue number 5 then.
We're in the home stretch till episode 100 also, guys.
Whoa, we are 94. Almost there. This would be a great time to call our 900 number to help decide if Vince is going to survive that episode. We'll see. It's up to you. I don't want to tell you guys. Okay, we've secretly already got episode 100 half recorded, but we're just going to change the ending based on how you vote. So, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Vince.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Chris.
You're also welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you to both of you. I feel very welcome. I will see you all next time. Bye. Love you.